So we're going to look at this in about 3 parts. Part 1 is what this looks like, because sometimes when we're using this language, you might not spot it in yourself, but you might spot some of these types of behaviors or thought patterns. So what does it look like if you're perhaps concentrating too much on what didn't go right and not looking for your opportunities? Watching other people progress with envy, maybe, and you feel like, why have I
Yeah,
been, why have
like
I done? And
indeed.
I felt like, I'm not a terrible teacher. Why do I not progress? Why don't I have opportunities? And I see
It's like
opportunities
we
all
have
the time.
blinkers on. When we're in that
Yeah.
depression or that low self-worth, it's those blinkers. And like
What,
you
missing the present moment. So when we focus in on past choices or worries for the future, we are not in now. And now's the powerful one.
yeah, like everything happens now. The past happened in the present moment. The future happens in the present moment. So therefore, everything happens in the present moment. If we're worrying about the past, or if we're worrying about the future, we're actually delaying the present moment. And nothing.
So we always start with a quote. And this week's quote is, you can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one.
Yeah, exactly. Oftentimes, the things that happened or didn't happen in the past can prevent us from moving forward or seeing opportunities in the future.
Absolutely. And so we're going to look at this in about 3 parts. Part 1 is what this looks like, because sometimes when we're using this language, you might not spot it in yourself, but you might spot some of these types of behaviors or thought patterns. So what does it look like if you're perhaps concentrating too much on what didn't go right and not looking for your opportunities? Why it happens to us? Why do we get ourselves in these situations? And then what do we do about it is part 3. So I got examples specifically around teaching, but this can be applies to anybody in
Yeah.
any stage of their life doing absolutely anything. So yeah. So reliving if only moments. So if you're saying, if only I'd applied for that job, or if only I'd applied for the promotion, or if only I'd decided to teach abroad, or if only I'd asked for that pay rise, um, I should have spoken up in that meeting, might be another thing you might be saying, these thoughts repeat and cause hesitation to new opportunities. So we might think, right, I don't agree with this, so I'm going to say something, or I've got a really great idea, but then we're not saying it and regretting it later for not speaking up. So reliving moments. I used to do this a lot. I used to relive conversations. Did you used to do that, where I'd be
Yeah,
like, I wish
it's
I'd said that?
oh, you'd be playing it over and over again. You'd be wondering, like, did they say this? And then you'd be picking on things they said and wonder, be like making mountains out of them. And you just consciously going, I should have said this. I regret not saying this. I should have said this. And it's just like, well, just let it go. Because you can't change the past. You can only redirect yourself into something different in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I would write almost the perfect speech of what I should have said, all the points that I missed out, and then even maybe have an imaginary conversation with them, like, what their response would be.
Yeah,
It's nuts, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So that was definitely one I used to do. Saying no to new roles or challenges. So avoiding extra training if you can help it, or not wanting to take school initiatives on unless you're pushed to do it, not wanting to be creative and doing the bare minimum, perhaps because maybe you suggested something in the past. I think sometimes we can go like kids, right, well, I'm not going to do anything now. You
Yeah.
didn't like my
Oh,
idea, well, you're getting none of my ideas now. You know, as adults, it's funny, isn't it? But really, we're
Oh,
just all big kids inside,
we
aren't
really
we?
are. It's like, oh my God, one thing like doesn't go right or somebody rejects your idea and it's like you stoop, you go into this tantrum energy. And it's like, fight your ground, stand up for yourself, do it again, you know what I mean? Oh, well, we're like big kids at times, we really are.
Yeah, definitely. And, just because somebody didn't like your idea doesn't mean it wasn't a great idea. And
Mhm.
just because the school doesn't take on your idea, or your workplace, or what the group doesn't take on your idea, it doesn't mean they won't take it on later on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Sometimes we need to be told, or we need to tell something twice, or need to be told something twice, or not even twice, more than twice. Like
8
there's
times. I
advice
think
that
it's
we
like,
could be given or give, and it's not listened to for 2 or 3 years even. And it's just like I said that to you a long time ago. And it's like, but I have this idea. It's like, yeah, I had it like 2 years ago.
yeah, yeah. And sometimes you've just got to accept that you might have a really I'm not able to say the word. You know what I'm like with my words. Innovative,
Yay!
innovative idea that is before its time, and it can be frustrating, especially if this has happened to you before, where you suggest something and it's like the schools wanting to follow what most schools are doing, and your idea is ahead of the curve, or you might have read something ahead of the curve and you're
Yeah,
like, oh, I think this would be a really great idea. And nobody wants to listen to it because the problem in schools is that a lot of the stuff is tick box because there's so much pressure for us to conform to doing everything a certain way by the government and Ofsted and everything. It's passed down from the top. It's not just our leaders. They're just trying to, tick the boxes they have to for their jobs. But it can feel like we don't have autonomy, or our ideas or knowledge or skills are not appreciated. And so then we can go, right, fine, sod ya. That little sulk, can't you? But it might just be that you're ahead of the curve, and you
yeah.
might find that it will come in
That's
later on.
that's that's why it's so important not to give up. Like we might have ideas or projects that we want to do now, and we might hit roadblocks or walls, or feel like, oh, we're after failing. But don't actually give up. Give it time. Let it stew. Let it manifest even into something better, and go back to it if you feel called. Because usually when you go back to it, it's when magic does happen. And I've done that with projects before. It's like keep hitting walls. Then I go through this the emotional side of things, and it's like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. And then you try again and you hit more walls and you're going through more emotions, and then you go back to last time and it's like everything just is more amazing than it could ever have been, and you actually feel grateful that it didn't work out the first couple of times. So always be patient with yourself. If it's the right thing, it will actually come to fruition when it's supposed to.
Yeah, and I think a good idea is to have a little ideas book. If you're an ideas person and your ideas get rejected so frequently because they're not maybe in line with what Ofsted are saying or whatever, to write it down, or to put some action, do your own little plan to put on the shelf for another time, so you don't feel like your idea was completely pushed away. You haven't lost that idea. It's just on reserve. It's on
Yeah.
the shelf for a more suitable time. Um, let's have a look. Comparison. If you're comparing yourself, if you have a lot of self-doubt, so watching other people progress with envy maybe, and you feel like, why have I
Yeah,
been why
we
have
can
I done,
be.
and I felt like I'm not a terrible teacher. Why do I not progress? Why don't I have opportunities? And I see
It's like
opportunities
we
all
have
the time.
blinkers on. When we're in that
Yeah,
depression or that low self worth, it's those blinkers, and like you all you see is everyone else winning, but you don't see that you're getting handed opportunities right here, but you're just not seeing them because you're concentrating so much on somebody else's grass leg. It's like water your own, and you'll be fine.
yeah. And it's also fair to say, I think, that we see people's progress, and I think this true in every aspect. We see the end product, but we don't see all the work that went in behind the scenes. It's just like, people want to be. Talking to my son, actually, he would like to be a professional footballer, like almost all boys his age. And but when I'm like, we should be practicing every day. You should be out practicing every day. And instead of eating those Doritos, maybe you should think about Well, end up eating a bit healthier, and maybe you should go for a jog to get your fitness up. And when the reality of what it takes to be that person, you know, they want the end goal, but often we want the end goal without the legwork that and that doesn't mean that we can't do that, you know, that legwork or reach for those stars and do that as well, but that we need to be realistic about, you know, other people's successes and not just think, I think we can just go, oh, it's because they're a favorite. I think we can assume that it's like some God-given, you know, they were blessed by the senior leadership team, so they're going to get all the breaks, when in actual fact they probably put a lot of extra hours in behind the scenes that you don't see, you know. Yeah, so comparing yourself, while ever you're focusing on someone else's journey, you're not really focusing on your own, are you?
Exactly. You know, that's it. You're jealous of somebody else, yet you're not doing the work yourself to take action towards your goals. You know, if you sit there twiddling your thumbs staring at somebody else's life, nothing is ever going to be a win for you. The winning comes with action and progress. You know what I mean? I'm not sitting there worrying about somebody else's progress.
Yeah, yeah. Regret can also turn to bitterness sometimes and make us withdraw. It's that same thing that I was saying, where we can sulk a little bit, or we can feel like sometimes sometimes if you want, say, a leadership role or something, you might have to apply several times. You might have to have a few knockbacks before you get what you want, you know. And if we take the first knockback too personally, it can stop us having another go, can't it?
Yeah, and that is one thing. Like, you know, it's perseverance, because you know, I think like with me and my projects, especially when it comes to publishing my book, I did keep hitting those walls, and I kept every time I hit a wall, I went reverted back into that the pity pot, really, of feeling so unworthy, feeling like it wasn't meant to be, feeling like I wasn't good enough. And it took a long time to rebuild my confidence, but I tried again. And I failed again. And then I tried again. And I failed again. And then the biggest opportunity came, where it actually was bigger and better than I could have imagined. So, but I kept going because I knew in my heart and soul it was something for me. So don't let the knockbacks deter you, because if it's something that is important to you, if it's something you're passionate about, don't ever give up. These knockbacks are actually tests of your resilience and tests to see if you still keep going. It's not failure. It's kind of pushing you to be stronger and to make it better than it could have been initially.
Yeah, and if you're getting feedback, it might be you might be getting information that you need in preparation for doing that role well. Yeah. Rejecting help or encouragement. So I would do that. Like, well, I certainly wouldn't ask for, in fact, yeah, I would reject help. No, it's fine. No, I can do
Yeah,
it.
I would have been the same before. I used to be always like that. It's like, no, I'm grand, it's fine. And like, you know, it's like, you know, you're missing opportunities here, you know, to get yourself to the end goal quicker. And now it's like, if somebody offers me help, like, people don't offer you help if they don't want to give you help. They're offering you help out of kindness. They're offering you help because they want to see you succeed. You know, so you're kind of insulting somebody if you say no as well. But you're slowing yourself down by saying no. And it's just a simple thing of saying thank you. Thank you for that help. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I used to see it as vulnerability, I think. I felt vulnerable by letting somebody, and I think it also by needing help or accepting help, it was like it was like a failure to me, because I'm like, well, I can't do it by myself, you know. And somebody who tried to be hyper independent, mainly because I felt let down in life. You know, when you unpick it all, there's like reasons for that. You know, I felt like
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
think a
know
lot of
what
it,
to lean
that's
on.
it. Two of us, like, the hyper independence comes in because we've been hurt so many times in the past, and we're actually afraid to trust. So if it's a big goal or a big project, it's something that's close to your heart and something that's important to you. It's hard to trust somebody else with it. You know, even though this person will be maybe trustworthy or probably is trustworthy, you just have that in the back of your mind. It's like, what if what if they hurt me? What if this fails because I let somebody in? So yeah, I understand that partially as well.
Yeah. So if we're rejecting help or if somebody says, oh, you'd be brilliant, you'd be brilliant at this, and you're like, oh, no, that's not I'm not really that good at that. You know, that was the opportunity. That's somebody encouraging you. They might be encouraging you to go for a job role, or to start a new hobby, or to showcase something that you are perceived by others as being good at. But you play small because
Yeah.
that's safe. Yeah. And that's how we can end up missing opportunities. And then later on go, oh, I wish I had joined that dance club, or, did that performance or whatever. Missing the present moment. So when we focus in on past choices or worries for the future, we are not in now. And now's the powerful one.
Yeah, like everything happens now. The past happened in the present moment. The future happens in the present moment. So therefore, everything happens in the present moment. If we're worrying about the past, or if we're worrying about the future, we're actually delaying the present moment. And nothing can happen anywhere except now. So we have to live in the now. And the thing is as well, we're seeing this goal and we're seeing the end result and we're freaking out. It's like, that mountain is too high, I can't climb it. But every journey, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So literally, take that first step in the now. One step at a time, one step forward, one step forward, one step forward. And you get there eventually. Don't be worrying about how you're getting there. The only thing you have to worry about is how you take the next step.
Yeah. The path unfolds as you take each step, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think we can get, it's very common to be either too focused on the future or too focused on the past, or both, and I was definitely somebody who's spent a lot of time in the past. And the past is important because we need to take the lessons. We shouldn't just carry on head first, ignoring all the signs. That's how we end up going round and round
The
in
repeated
circles.
patterns. Yeah, it keeps repeating until you learn the lesson. And it's like, it's literally you're being slapped in the face over and over again. It's like, get out of this lane, get into the new lane.
Yeah, so it's important to spend time honoring the past we honor it by releasing any emotions that are attached to it, which we've done other mindset lives on, and taking the lesson. If we can take the lesson, it's like closure on it, and we can go, right, next thing. It's when we're going, why me? Why did this happen? And we end up stuck there. And while we're stuck there, we can't make changes in the now, because we're not in that place anymore. We're in a completely different place.
But that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's important to analyze what you did. So ask
Yeah.
yourself those questions. Why did this happen? Why did it not go right? What can I do to change things? And when that's enough. Then you can let it go after that. But make sure you ask those questions. What is this trying to teach me? Where is it directing me to? And then you can make changes accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. So we need to learn from our past, but not set up home there, which is definitely what I used to do, and then worry about things far in the future that probably never ever would happen. Yeah. Rejecting. Oh, I've already got that one. Right. So that was part one. So there's some things you might notice. If you notice those things, they're quite common. And I know I certainly suffered, and still sometimes I find myself doing those things. Even if you're on a growth journey, even if you consider yourself to be mentally well and happy and all of this stuff, you can still have these behaviors and these thought patterns creeping in.